Welcome to the sound of the start of your weekend. It's the NTT20 betting show. It's sponsored by Sky Bet. It's me, Ali Maxwell, and him, George Elek, making betting picks ahead of a full slate of EFL action. He's already looking at me quizzically. Good start. It is sponsored by Sky Bet, and it's for over 18s only. Please be gamble aware and understand the risks that come with gambling. If you're thinking of placing a bet this weekend or anytime, head to gambleaware.org to brush up on them. Go on.
Well, I've been with you for the last half an hour and you've sounded absolutely fine. Then as soon as it sounded the podcast, it sounded like a bit of a cold coming on.
Ooh.
I hope you're okay. Can you feel it a bit?
I actually can't, but it is a thing that sometimes you can hear it before you feel it, isn't it?
I think you're in for a tough weekend.
Ali Cold comes in.
Move away.
No. Oh, no. I hope not. Well, feeling good, feeling fresh, if anything. Actually, I went to a Spoons last night where there were
90... Oh, no, that's it. Sorry. That'll be the voice. Sorry.
Right. Yeah, 99p for a pint of Worthingtons.
Please drink responsibly.
I know that it's nothing new that Spoons prices are outliers, shall we say, but it still is just such a delight. It's such a delight. I sent my mate £12 this morning for 4 pints that he bought me last night, and it just felt incredible.
He's mugged you right off at 99p.
No, I wasn't on the Worthingtons, I must admit. Last week's betting show, it was Cup week, wasn't it? It was postponement central. It was a bit weird. Your Wrexham nap was a painful loser, 11-4, and they did get through against Nottingham Forest. They did give up a 2-goal lead against Nottingham Forest in the last minute and won on pens. So a losing nap, but a great pick at the same time. The Burton pick was a brilliant winner at 9-4. They did indeed beat Boreham Wood 2 leagues below them. Your Akersworth Birmingham did end up beating Cambridge. You had a Heinz, which was lively, and the first 3 of the 6 all came in, all to qualify, and all came in, and the 4th and the 5th and the 6th did not qualify, and it wasn't quite enough for profit. No. I used the old calculator to work out that if you put a 2p Heinz on, so £1.14 staked total, you got 54p back for a 60p loss.
Shame.
And it was exciting, though, being 3 for 3 heading into Sunday. My nap was Wolves to 0, probably the most painful possible way to lose a win to 0 bet. Wolves beat Shrewsbury 6-1. Shrewsbury's goal was a penalty. The foul possibly outside the box. Quite annoying, but that's the risk that you take. All 3 of my goal scorers were voided bets. They either had their game postponed or didn't play, in the case of Othman Mama. So that was a bit of a waste of breath. The Eggman was not great, 1 out of 4. The joint bet, though, is where we had some real silliness. My game got postponed, Salford Swindon.
Perfect.
The double became a single, or both doubles became a single, and George Elek does it again in the cup. This guy knows cup goals better than anyone I've ever seen. Sheffield United 3, Mansfield 4 means that the over 4.5 at 4-1 and the over 5.5 at 9-1, if anyone had the double, they're just winning singles.
Thank you.
Lovely, lovely winners.
It was nice that they scored 7 goals after like an hour and then just stopped scoring. Just like, yeah, job done. Fine. We'll do one more just to be safe, and then we're going to stop.
Sensational from you. What's your best bet this weekend?
Championship. I am putting up Watford to beat Millwall at even money. Now, for those who only listen to the betting show and don't listen to the Monday show, this week on Monday show we did mid-season predictions, or as I like to call them, redictions. And naturally, there are probably 4 or 5 teams across the 3 leagues who are currently in quite a good position, who we predict may not end the season in such a good position. And understandably and obviously, fans of those clubs are the ones who get in touch and say, "What are you talking about? How can you say that? These are all the reasons why this isn't going to be the case." And spoiler alert, if you haven't listened to them already, either go and do so now or just accept that you're about to tell you something. Millwall were one of those teams who currently sit in the playoff picture and had them outside the top 6 for various reasons, in part because the underlying numbers don't necessarily suggest that that's where they're going to be, in part because I just have general concerns about squad quality, in part because the ridiculous nature of their goals scored and goals against column and their points tally is just one of the most crazy things I've ever basically seen in my whole life. Where to just reiterate, just to repeat myself, they played 26 games, they've scored 29 goals, they've conceded 33 goals for a goal difference of -4, and they've somehow got 43 points.
Incredible.
That is just like a huge anomaly, which is impressive. Yeah, of course. And they might improve. And the majority of feedback from Millwall fans as to why they might improve, as it often is, was injuries. And there is no denying that Millwall have had a ridiculous raft of injuries. And for Alex Neil and the players and his players to have amassed the amount of points they've got and to put themselves into this position they're in right now, where they could feasibly finish in the top 6, is like quite honestly unbelievable. And when it comes down to talking about the best manager performance of the season so far, if we did that pod, I would definitely have Neil in there because of the way that he's had to deal with it. But it's also normal that fans will think when we get these players back, things are going to improve, things will get better. And it's not always that simple. I think often we overestimate the impact of 1 or 2 players coming back. They are hopeful, Millwall, having been playing Alfie Doughty or Bangura Williams in a central midfield role with Billy Mitchell, kind of the only recognised centre midfielder who's been playing there recently. That Casper Denoire might be back after a calf issue on Saturday. Even if he is back, I would say the impact that will have is something probably, but like he's coming out for injury. You never know how fit these guys are anyway. We will have to see. But the fact still remains for me, and until we see a shift in Millwall's performances and underlying numbers, I'm still willing to back my own assessment that they are a team maybe in a bit of a false position and aren't necessarily a top 6 team.
That is what it's all about, mate.
I cannot say the same about Watford, who are currently in the top 6, but to my mind are one of the best teams in the league and have been performing that way for quite a long time. Even under Petzolano early in the season, the underlying numbers were good and suggested that whoever came in wouldn't have to do too much in order to turn them into a very good side. They've now won 4 games on the bounce in the league, which is impressive. I think we can basically ignore the cup result that came after that, where they lost 5-1 at Bristol City. Just, I think you can ignore cup results for the most part anyway. Their home form all season has been just really, really good. They picked up the joint second most points at home so far this season, alongside Ipswich. Only Coventry have more points at home with 29. They've got 28. They've only lost 1 game at home all season, up against a Millwall side who've been better at home than away, and their away form recently hasn't been great. Their one away win in recent times was a 1-0 away win at Bristol City, but last seen away from home losing to Blackburn, I think it was. And just generally a side who, as is often the case with Millwall, tend to play better at home. They drew 0 at Southampton before that and then lost 2-0 against Blackburn. Recent defeats as well, coming against Pompey and then that 4-0 drubbing against Birmingham. So a side that has struggled away from home. I think Watford are the better side between these two. I think home advantage is quite big here. Yes, obviously Max Alleyne, who's been a huge player for Watford, has been recalled by Manchester City and is now immediately playing centre-back for one of the best teams in the world, which is, he's obviously going to be a miss. But again, I think you can overplay how important that's going to be. I am confident here that Watford, should these two teams play the way they have done in the league recently, will have the better of this game. And at even money, look to me to be a good bet for a home win.
I'm going to League One for my nap, and it's Blackpool to beat Barnsley away from home at 11-5. Fun team at the moment, Blackpool. Fun to try and assess because they've been in good form recently. The numbers are not tremendous. They went on a run of 4 wins out of 5, then went 1-0 up at Port Vale on New Year's Day. Things looking really nice before James Husband's first half red card saw them concede 5 in the second half, lose 5-1, and then lose at home to Bradford in what was a pretty tight game in which Bradford made the most of a big error at the back. I can't quite work out what their actual level is, but there are things that I really like about this Blackpool team, even though Everett is still having to deal with some quite ridiculous absences, particularly at the back. It's basically a party up front and chaos at the back with Blackpool. Their last game, they played Lyons, Casey and Ashworth as their back 3. Not ideal on paper. This is a team that was meant to start the season with Horsfall and Ahikwe as like the standout centre-back signings of the summer. It hasn't worked out at all. They have added Kamal Grant this week on loan from Millwall. Had a good loan at Bromley last season. Looks like a solid short-term addition for them, and I think could possibly go straight in here, and I think will add plenty to their back line. In front of it, I really like what I'm seeing both on paper and on the pitch. Midfield options. They're basically playing 3 centre mids, 2 up top, wing backs and 3 centre backs. Midfield options of Albie Morgan, Lee Evans, George Honeyman or Brown, who's been on the bench recently. Out wide, Imre has really started to look good on the right, and on the left they go with either CJ Hamilton or maybe Scott Banks, so quite attacking types. And then up top is where it's been really standout in the last few weeks. Tom Bloxham, but mainly Ashley Fletcher, just look in unbelievable nick at the moment. Bloxham is a kind of really interesting player because physically he's unbelievable. Running the channels, pace and power, brilliant. Not always that dependable in front of goal, but him and Fletcher seem to be causing a lot of problems for back lines at the moment, particularly when Blackburn get good balls forward with space to play into. If those two are up against 2 or 3 defenders on their own, isolated at the back, they're causing carnage. And Fletcher's finishing recently has been absolutely brilliant. He looks every inch the kind of young talent that he was coming through at Man U all those years ago. So I think they can cause Barnsley a lot of problems. I'm a bit worried about them defensively, but I think you can say pretty similar about Barnsley. I think they are also quite good going forward and fairly chaotic at the back. Big context here is that they were at Anfield on Monday, not doing a stadium tour, playing Liverpool in the Cup. They lost. And I think there could be a little bit of the old after the Lord Mayor's show about this. When you have a big Cup game and then you go back to league action and the energy's just not quite there because of what Monday night would have taken out of them. Quite a lot of transfer speculation around Reyes Cleary, which may or may not impact performance. They've lost their last 2 games at home and they've not been in very good form at all recently. And I think that Bloxham and Fletcher will cause some problems. I think it'll be a bit of a shootout, to be honest, a possibly high-scoring game. And I just like that we're getting Blackpool at better than 2-1 in that shootout with the confidence they have at the top of the pitch at the moment. So Blackpool 11-5 to win away at Barnsley. Blackpool won against Wigan on the 20th December away. Rotherham on the 10th of December away. And they were 1-0 up, remember, at Port Vale before collapsing there. So I'm feeling good about this one. 11-5 for Blackpool to beat Barnsley this weekend. Next.
Another even money shot, this time in League One, and I'm backing Peterborough to beat Plymouth Argyle at even money. Definite signs of improvement at Argyle in basically every way. This isn't overly negative about them, especially away from home, where they're on a ridiculous run. They've won 3 of their last 4 away from home, including that impressive 5-1 away win at Doncaster and the 1-0 away win at Wickham as well. Last seen drawing 1-1 against Stevenage, which isn't a bad result in itself. I'm not necessarily sure there's loads in the performances that suggest this is sustainable. 2 of the wins being 1-0 wins. And yeah, it's obviously the Doncaster one is eye-catching, but this is mainly a kind of big pro Peterborough one because they are rampant at the moment and they are, I think, under Luke Williams, one of the better teams in the league. I'm not entirely sure that the market has twigged onto that. Home performances have been really, really strong under Williams. Last seen beating Bolton 3-1. There was almost the most impressive game of the lot was, again, they didn't even win, where they hosted in-form Reading, another team who I think under William Richardson are one of the best teams in the league. And game state played a part because they went behind relatively early in the game, but they drew it 1-1 and dominated in basically every single aspect of the game. As I say, they were 1-0 down early, and that plays a part. But even so, the way they were able to kind of create a lot of goal-scoring opportunities without conceding too much by way of Reading chances really impressed me. And that came off the back of a 1-0 win over Orient too. So, in Harry Leonard, they've got a striker that I absolutely love. But I also love the fact that Peterborough put 3 past Bolton, and Leonard, whilst being involved in the goals, didn't score any of them. This is a team who are finding ways to create chances, not just for their main striker. Up against an Argyle side who, are still trying to stave off relegation. Barley Mumba moving to Huddersfield is a loss for them. Ronnie Curtis coming in is an interesting signing, I guess, in ways. Hopefully they'll be hoping that he does as well as the last player they signed from Port Vale and Laurent Tolai. But I still kind of have Plymouth down or Argyle down as a team who have it all to do, really. 2 teams that are going through better runs, having started the season badly, but Peterborough looks much more sustainable to me, and I think there's more between the sides than the prices suggest. So, yeah, Posh at even money, my next best.
Goalscorer corner time. Just be great to get some of these on the pitch this weekend after last weekend's Void Fest. I must admit, I'm really excited about this weekend. I like all 3 of these. I like the prices. It means I want the Trixie. So as goal scorer corner always takes 2.5 points of my staking plan, I'm going to do half a point on the 3 singles and then a 0.25 point Trixie. So that is 2.5 points staked total. Staking is obviously very, very important, as we discussed with the old Heinz last weekend. So yeah, I think when you've got goal scorers and you've got goal scorer fancies, it's always tempting to get excited with the multis. But I find myself having to make sure that I'm still staying within the staking plan. And I think it's just worth pointing that out because I know it's easy to get carried away. So just a little January note from me there. Lewis Wing of Reading, 5-1 to score any time at Leyton Orient. Leyton Orient, who love to concede goals, one of the worst defensive teams in League One. Lewis Wing, his last 5 games, he's had 2 shots, 4 shots, 2 shots, 2 shots, 5 shots. He's on penalties as well. He's already scored 3 this season. Anytime has landed in 7 of his 24 games this season. Last season, it landed in 8 of his 46 starts. The season before that, also Reading, also in League One, so relevant. 10 times anytime landed in 39 league starts. So going back 2.5 seasons, 109 starts for Lewis Wing in League One. For Reading, 25 times anytime has landed. That's a 23% hit rate. Odds-wise, that suggests around the 130 mark. We're getting 5-1 here. He'll also be taking shots at Killian Cahill in goal, who I think it's fair to say is still kind of yet to prove himself as a shot stopper at this level. He conceded a free kick goal from Marcus Brown a couple of games ago against Wimbledon. And I just really like this price for Lewis Wing to score for Reading 5-1 away at this very leaky Orient side. Staying in League One, going to Kenilworth Road, Gideon Kodwa, 4-1 anytime to score for Luton at home to Lincoln. Kodwa is, and has been for a couple of months now, Luton's most consistent attacking player and most consistent goal threat. He has 8 goals in the league this season, and I really like everything about him. A really busy attacking player, a very versatile attacking player that can play out wide, but also has been played in a number 10 role recently. Wilshere just wants him in the team pretty much in any position because of what he offers. Quality on the ball. He's nabbed a couple in the 6-yard box, but he's also someone that can shift the ball, create a little bit of space, and he shoots powerfully, hard and low. Great ball striker. Has shown really encouraging signs as a goal threat, as he did for West Ham at youth level. There's a chance he might be on pens. Just going to say it in case it happens. Jordan Clark took the last one and missed it. Kodwa did take one early in the season and scored it. So I wonder if, given his confidence and given Clicker missed that one last time out, Kodwa could be on pens here. And Lincoln, obviously second in the league, obviously very impressive team. They give up a lot of shots. They've faced the 6th most shots in the league. They're a very passive team out of possession, so they do draw teams onto them. They are excellent at preventing the opposition from having good shots, I should say. But Kodwa is a bit of a threat from the kind of 15-20 yard range, and I think there's a chance he might squeeze off a couple of attempts in this game. So yeah, even if Lincoln get ahead, as they have done recently, and they're very good at sitting on their leads, I think Luton will spend plenty of time on the attack in their half, in the final third. Kodwa, the big goal threat, 4-1, I think really good price anytime with Sky Bet. And then Matthew Dennis of Notts County. He's 5-2 to score at Crawley Town. Crawley Town are disastrous defensively. They've conceded 2 or more in 7 of their last 10 league games. They are all at sea. And Matthew Dennis is a pirate. It just feels long to me when you consider that Jata is significantly shorter than Dennis. They are strike partners, but Dennis has better goal scoring record this season. They're pretty similar for XG. They both take a lot of shots inside the box. Dennis has scored in 7 of his 14 starts. So anytime he's landed in 50% of his starts this season, takes loads of shots, takes loads of good shots, proved himself at Carlisle last season, and haven't seen anything to suggest he's anything other than a really good League 2 goal scorer. So up against maybe the worst defensive team in the division right now, I think 5-2 is a kind price. So we've got the singles, half a point on Lewis Wing, 5-1 anytime, half a point on Gideon Kodwa, 4-1 anytime, and half a point on Matthew Dennis, 5-2 anytime. And we'll have a quarter point Trixie as well to finish off Goalscorer Corner.
I have a Goalscorer Corner that I'm very excited about.
Nice.
It's just one bet.
Yep.
And there's no one in the corner. It's an empty corner. It's a vacant corner.
Oh, no.
REM, is that me in the corner? No, because there's no one there. No goal scorer in Exeter against Stevenage is 13-2 with Sky Bet. And I am not having that at all. I think it should be much. I mean, it's relatively short for a no goal scorer pick, but I think it should be shorter. This is ridiculous. Exeter played 32 games in all competitions this season, the last of which had 11 goals in it, right?
Yeah.
How many of those 32 games do you think BTTS no has landed in?
32? I'll go for 23.
22.
Okay, nice.
So like a huge proportion of their games of 32. So it means that BTTS No should generally be 2 on in their matches if you take it that
Yep.
literally. How many games do you reckon Exeter have had that have been 0-0 this season?
3.
0.
Oh.
Which is just an absurd statistical anomaly.
Yeah.
That to me says, and if they continue to have, their games are low scoring, their games are kind of low margin, like 0-0s are coming. And if there's any team that can bring you a 0-0 to St James Park, it's Stevenage, who've already had 3 0-0s this season, who are one of the lowest scoring teams in the EFL, whose games are generally incredibly low margin as well. If you look at Not the Top Tables over at ntt20.com, if you sort it by by XG total, last 5 games, 23rd, Exeter 2.2, 22nd, Stevenage 2.23. If you look at the 10 game rolling, Stevenage bottom 1.86, Exeter a little bit higher, 2.43. If you're looking at the season as a whole, 24th, Stevenage 1.95, 23rd, Exeter 2.22. Like, it's just made for this. So yeah, 2 teams that don't give loads away defensively, struggle from an attacking point of view, playing against each other. I think especially with X having shipped 10 last time out against City, I'm sure they've been working quite hard to stop that from happening again with defensive work. I'm pretty excited about the prospect of a 0-0 here in Devon.
I'm excited.
This is going to be classic. I mean, sitting there on Saturday, the first goal that comes through, 1-0 Exeter.
Stevenage 10, Exeter 1.
Yeah.
I really like your energy with that, so thank you. That's given me life.
You always like it when I talk to you in my picks. You always have.
Yeah.
Engage you, bring you in.
That's exactly it. I like little quizzes.
Yeah.
I like finish this. I like sort of finish the gap in the sentence games. I like all of that sort of stuff. Before I do my Eggman, Aka, can you give me someone to swerve?
Yes. Sorry, I haven't prepped it yet, but I'm going to League 2.
We're live recording, so you're going to need to prep it.
Yeah. No, that's true. No, as in I just haven't got it all up on my screen yet.
So it's a screen-based prep, yeah.
I am swerving Crewe, who are 4-5 at home to Barrow. Nothing against Crewe, really. A side who are knocking on the door of the playoffs, whose underlying numbers recently aren't great.
They have failed to beat Newport twice and Harrogate once.
Indeed.
In the last few weeks.
But Barrow are a team to watch, I think. We don't know what Paul Gallagher's done on the training field since he came in, but since Andy Wing left, which, full disclaimer, I wasn't a big fan of the decision to sack Andy Wing. I didn't think it looked like it was really his fault, but they've improved. There's no denying they've improved, especially from an attacking point of view. The performances have been pretty good. There was a good away win at Tranmere on Boxing Day. Their XG ratio over the last 5 games is over 50% compared to Crewe's, which is 42%. So, I don't think there's a great deal between these 2 teams in terms of their recent performances. But Barrow are still kind of being priced up as a team who've been poor for most of the season, and Crewe maybe aren't quite as good as where they are in the market. So I wouldn't be touching Crewe at odds on in my ACCA if I were you.
Good, because I'm not. We've got a 5-fold ACCA. We call it the Eggman. We'd love to win one. This is a 62.61 with Sky Bet, so just a little longer than 60 to 1. It's got Portsmouth in it. They're 2.15. It feels very, very trappy. They're away at Sheffield Wednesday, but I'm drawn to backing Sheffield Wednesday opponents at anything longer than even money because they're just so up against it. Personnel-wise, starting 11 in their last game had Pierce Charles in goal, who subsequently picked up an injury that rules him out for the season. So back to no one in goal, basically. Their back line had 5 kids, basically. Sean Fusire, the oldest, who was on loan at Carlisle in League 2 last season and has been forced into action with Wednesday, but is not a championship level. Midfield of Ingleson, the only senior midfielder really, with Thornton and Shipston, and then Cadamartri and McNeil up front. McNeil had a 2-week period where he looked pretty bright about a month ago. Cadamartri's really struggled at the top end of the pitch. Everyone's struggling through really no fault of their own. The circumstances are just completely against Wednesday and have been all season, and the longer the season goes on, the harder it gets for them. Their XG ratio over the last 10 games, 26.9%. So you could simplify that by saying pretty much for every expected goal they create, the opposition creates around 3 XG. They've lost 12 of their last 17 in the league, and they've lost 9 of 13 at home. So even though Portsmouth have only won 1 away from home this season, and only 4 of 34 since coming up away from home in the Championship, and have Josh Murphy and Callum Lang injured, I still think that this is enough for me to put in the Eggman. Blackpool, my nap, they're 11-5, aren't they? I've already laid that out. And Peterborough, even money, are in here as well. That's your next best. You laid it out very well. The only thing I want to add is that Kyrell Lisby, playing left wing for Peterborough, against Joe Edwards, playing right back for Plymouth Argyle, I think speed-wise and physical attributes-wise might be one of the biggest mismatches in the whole EFL this weekend. And I think Lisby can make hay, doing what his brother Kyrese has been doing really well as well recently, which is kind of using that speed to crash the back post and get good chances. He scored last time out. Exeter Stevenage, I've got Exeter, so we can't win both your no goal scorer bet and my... actually, we could. A 1-0 Exeter win with an own goal. We could still win the Eggman and your no goal scorer bet. I think they're a good price at 8-5, 2.6 for Sky Bet. I would be surprised a month ago if you told me I'd be putting the weight of my money behind Exeter City. We've been on a great journey, and that's because you have to be open to having your mind changed. And I have been, because in the league recently, they've been really impressive, not just grinding out results, but playing really well. And looking like a good team and moving away from the relegation zone. And their last 6 at home in the league, 4 wins, 2 draws against a Stevenage side that have been entirely unimpressive. Whereas I think Exeter have found something. I think 2.6 is a good price. They go in the ACCA. And a shorty to finish in League 2, Oldham, 3-4 at home to Cheltenham. That's because with the recall of Ethan Archer, who's gone back to Luton, with Hakeeb Adelakan having had his contract expire and moved to Doncaster, suddenly that Cheltenham side has lost basically all of its quality in the final third, and the starting 11 last time out just went back to looking very, very average and quite bland, I think. So I think Oldham are a good bet to win this one at home at 3-4. So the Eggman at 62.61, a 5-fold ACCA. Portsmouth in the Championship, Blackpool, Peterborough and Exeter in League 1, and Oldham in League 2. I think we've just got the joint bet to finish us off. It's a BTTS 6-fold. It's at 24.1 with Sky Bet. Talk me through the board.
In the Championship, going to go Stoke QPR. I think QPR are just always value for goals at the moment, even though we're in mid-January and they are kind of goalsy and attacking under Julian Stefan. They are consistently priced up as if they're the QPR of old, and I don't really understand why. And they'll take the game to Stoke, who we know have their own attacking threat, and at home will certainly expect to score. So surprised that's as big as 4-5 with Sky Bet. In League 1, Leyton Orient against Reading, just Orient's defensive record this season is a shambles. They've conceded the most goals in the league, but at home are generally pretty good. Reading will go there with Will Keane in their ranks, and under Liam Richardson themselves are finding their stride from a goal scoring perspective. So I think that should be pretty end to end. And then the game I mentioned there in my ACCA swerve, Crewe Barrow, purely because Barrow since wing left have been really, really vibesy. Loads of attacking threat, not much defensively. Crewe with Tesgel generally tend to score at home. And I think that could be another one that is pretty end-to-end. So Stoke QPR, Orient Reading and Crewe Barrow.
Yeah, nice. I'm adding in the Championship, Southampton against Hull. Feels very BTTS-y. 20 out of 26 league games for Saints have had BTTS land this season. 16 out of 25 for Hull, but we know they are super goalsy and not very good at defending. Wrexham Norwich, 77% of Wrexham home games have had BTTS land. They are, they're very front-footed at home, but at the back they can leave themselves open. Jovan Makama's form is very, very impressive for Norwich at the moment. I think they're improving a little going forward under Clement. And then Mansfield Port Vale in League 1. John Brady's had a good start to life as well. Boss, he got a win against Fleetwood in the Cup, 1-0, good performance. And then Bolton in the Trophy in midweek, they were up against it for large parts of that game, as you'd expect, but they showed a bit of grit, bit of backbone, which they've been lacking in games this season, and then nicked it with a 1-0 win as well. So a more confident Port Vale side that are actually getting results finally. They go to Mansfield, who are in unbelievable form, 3 wins out of 3 in the league, and that great 4-3 win at Bramall Lane. Rhys Oates is an absolute menace at the moment, and I back them to score, but they are quite open at the back, and I think Port Vale can nick one as well. So the 6-fold, BTTS, yes, in Southampton and Hull, Wrexham, Norwich, and Stoke QPR in the Championship, In League One, it's got Leyton Orient Reading and Mansfield Port Vale. And in League Two, it's got Crewe Barrow. Really fun. Thank you very much for listening to and or watching the NTT20 betting show. It's sponsored by Sky Bet. Great to have full slate of league action this weekend, starting on Friday night with a game George and I are so excited about that we are watching it together in the pub. And it's Eric Ramsey's West Brom hosting Kim Hellberg's Middlesbrough.
Ramble versus Hellball.
Yep. Thank you very much to the Reverters. They're going to play us out. Cheers. Go well.